Geocachomaniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Welcome to Geo Gearheads. This is episode 394. Quick math, Daryl tells me we're 6 away from 400, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. This is a weekly podcast about geocaching and geolocation games. And, well, you may know I'm Chris of the Northwest, along with our illustrious and sometimes illustrated host, Daryl W4.
See, now I got to go find a filter that's going to do the illustration for me.
Don't worry, you can draw inspiration from it.
Well, maybe when we switch streaming services, we'll find that. Because, you know what? We're about out of time. I think we have one more show, and that's it before Hangouts on Air dies.
That's right. It's soon here.
Uh-huh.
Take
and
a
we
deep
still
breath.
haven't made that plan, but with any luck, this weekend I'll actually have about an hour or so available, and I'll try to get that set up. Not that that's enough time to really do it, but I'm going to try it anyway. But speaking about people who have not nearly enough time, because he's always traveling and doing cool things, we've got Rock Chalk back.
Yeah, how's it going?
Pretty good. Glad to have you back on, and happy that you could take some time from all of your responsibilities at geocaching headquarters and all the many travels to join us again.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year out here in the Northwest. The weather's nice, and so we're always trying to take advantage of it. I was just thinking today, I was like, gosh, I feel kind of tired, but I don't want to take the weekend and just sit around because I'll be kicking myself come December when it's raining every weekend. So it's just kind of a busy time for those of us out here trying to take advantage of this beautiful weather.
That's when you'll head to
the Northwest.
I was going to say, that's just when you're going to head down to like Australia or New Zealand, knowing you.
I actually do have a trip planned
for
Australia.
see, you live the life that all of us geocachers dream of. You're off doing all the great caches and everything. And for anyone who doesn't know, Rock Chalk does have an Instagram account full of really inspiring locations. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I need to do a better job actually of sharing photos. Sometimes I like to think that I try to be in the moment and kind of experience stuff, and then I find myself later thinking, "Oh, I should have taken a picture of that or that other thing," and I'm not quite as aware sometimes of pulling my phone out and taking a picture, but.
So you're saying you need to get better at rubbing it in.
That's right. So I need to get better at that and maybe I'll space the pictures out like once a day, and that way every day you'll have to.
There we go.
I'll just know that Daryl somewhere is cursing my name every day.
It's Rock Chalk's daily inspiration.
Right. As opposed to once a week like I usually do it.
Well, yeah, you stack up like, 6 or so pictures every week. And it's always, like, why am I not there instead of, doing housework?
Well, housework has its merits.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It does. But, if I could afford to pay someone to do it so I could go caching, I'd rather do that.
That's true. It never stays done, though. You do the housework, then you got to do it again in the exact same thing. So, yeah. I'm all for a clean house, but boy.
Well, see, the flip side is this is all I show you from my house is this wall. It's the only thing I can keep clean because I'm never here. So, it's a trade-off.
There you go. I have a little corner here.
One of those tiny little houses so that it doesn't take as much work to do, and I can go caching more. And because it's a tiny little house, hopefully more affordable, and I can afford more trips.
There you go.
I'm couldn't afford to have the studio then.
Yeah, you have to have a tiny house and a tiny studio.
See, there you go.
Mm-hmm. One thing I have been thinking about it being summertime is we, and it wasn't by design, but where we live now, we don't have a yard really. and where we lived in Kansas City for many years, we had a pretty big yard, and it's a lot of work to take care of a yard. And I found myself sometimes on weekends now saying, oh, I am really glad I got rid of that yard, because I just remember you had to, this time of year, I'd have to get up early once or twice a week and get out and mow the lawn before it became 100 degrees outside. And you know, then I'm dead, tired after that, and I don't want to go anywhere and go caching. So,
You know, Rock Chalk, if you miss it, drive south. You can come and mow my lawn every now and again, just when you feel the urge.
I'll just stop by.
Yeah.
You can just leave the mower out in the driveway for me, and
Okay. I'll keep it fueled up and everything if you're coming by.
Okay.
That's not a
I'll
problem.
let you know.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Sometimes, actually, I have gone back, and I used to take care of my grandmother's lawn too when I lived there, and now my brother does it. And every so often, when I go back, I'll say, hey, I want to come over and mow the lawn, because I don't get to do it, and my brother's more than happy to let me. So maybe I'll just, if I get that hankering, I'll just come down to your house, and my brother can just keep doing what he's doing.
Okay.
All right, Bounce wants to know what your Instagram account name is, or is it private? And it is not private.
No, it's Geo Rock Chalk, I believe.
That sounds right, actually.
I should look and be sure. I don't want to disappoint Bounce.
No.
Yeah, Geo Rock Chalk is my Instagram.
And we'll put a link to that in the show notes once we actually get the show up.
If you disappoint Rock Chalk, he may not, or I'm sorry, Bounce, he may not just show up at HQ with donuts.
That's true. It's been a while since he did that. You know,
but it has happened.
I think that should be like a weekly occurrence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There might be a Bounce cache in my Instagram. I should go back and.
I'm pretty sure there was, because that was one of those that I was like, I need to do those. Which hopefully next year I'll have the chance.
Yeah. How much time are you hoping to spend out here?
I can only afford a week-ish. I think I have a week and a day. I only have like 2 weeks, and I need some of that time for other things.
And that would encompass Geo Woodstock as well, I assume?
Yes, that's the plan. And we're going to have to do that show probably in the next couple of months with, what to plan for, because I think everyone's kind of in the same boat that I am. It's, a year out. We've made the plans we've made the commitment that we're going. We just need to kind of get a better feel for, where to stay and what to do.
Right.
And even though I've been there once before for the 10-year event, I've got to do it all over again because the wife has never been there.
Oh, wow.
So she's got to experience all that stuff.
Yeah, there's an awful lot to try to see and do in that period of time.
Yeah. We're not going to have a whole lot of time for much of anything. And this is the problem, is when we go on vacation, we spend so much time geocaching, we come back that we need a vacation from our vacation.
Yep, I know that.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're not doing anything about any of this other stuff that we've talked about, because, we're just chatty geocachers. We're here to talk about the mystery at the museum. And Rock Chalk, you really don't have a whole lot of knowledge about this promotion outside of being the reporter on the scene. So you did some investigative journalism for us to kind of help us put the show together tonight.
I did. I put my suit back on and walked around the office with a microphone and knocked on doors, and a lot of them were slammed in my face, but a few people I was able to catch up with as they were going to lunch, and they couldn't avoid me. And yeah, I tried to get some answers.
Awesome. And just as a brief reminder of what Mystery at the Museum is, this is the summer promotion that's already started. We talked about it a little bit last week, but August 11th is our final day. And I think the announcement comes on the 8th. Is that correct? Chris, we were just looking that up before the show.
The 8th is our last show before the end of the.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Promotion.
Okay. Yeah. So the 11th is the end of the promo, but the 8th is our show during that. Okay.
Our last show during the promotion challenge thing. Nobody knows what to call it because I don't think anybody at HQ really knows what to call it.
Yeah, promotion, souvenir challenge. I've heard all kinds of terms, but yeah.
So this is a really interesting gameplay, as we kind of talked about last week. One of the questions that's come up a bunch is, what you're actually finding in the cache, and the answer is nothing. There is nothing in the cache. The caches haven't been changed. It's just an overlay. So you're finding virtual clues. Now,
right. Yeah. Imagine if there was an actual thing.
I was going to say, imagine if they had
that would have been a project
in there.
I've been looking for the gems. There aren't any gems in any of these caches.
No.
It says there's supposed to be a diamond in there, but I go there, I didn't find one.
What a disappointment.
Yeah, I know.
I was going to ask, do you know if you've had a lot of people complaining about this, that they're going to find it?
No, I think most people
people are smart enough to realize.
Yeah, we have not gotten any emails from people.
Okay, good.
Upset because they didn't find a sapphire in the cache.
Well, it's most of the people going for that first one who have been like, I can't find anything in the cache for this detective clue. How do I know not to go? How to go to the next one? No. Log the cache, then you'll get your next one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There was an actual detective in my first one. I pulled him out of there, inflated him, and no, that was different.
I was going to say that doesn't sound like a detective to me, but
oh.
Okay. So how far along are you two guys with the mystery?
Chris, I'll let you go first.
Let's see. I've got the detective. I got the 3 evidence clues: the footprints, the fingerprints, and the shadows. And I've got all but 6 of the gems. So there's only 5 gems, but there's 3 for each of them. So I've got apparently 9 if I do the math right there in my head.
So you're actually further along, I think, than I am, because I've got, let's see, I'm trying to count it up real quick. I need 2. Oh, I only need 5 of the gems. So we've completed all but 3 of the gems. I need 1 more ruby, 1 more diamond, and I need all 3 emeralds still. But yeah, it's like the 3 tiers that you have to complete. So you get to the detective clue. That's 1 cache gets you the detective clue. Then you can find the evidence, which is the footprints, the shadow, and the fingerprints. And you need 2 of each of those. That's the one that got me a little bit confused at first, even though I had read it and understood it. When I started going out there, it's like, okay, we found it. Wait. No, I need 2. Which is one of those like, oh, obviously that's what it is as soon as you look at the app, but I forgot that was the case.
The way the grid is laid out works really well. I mean, it makes a lot of sense as you work through it and go, oh yeah, okay. As you work through the 9 squares. It was the 12th, whatever day that was. That was a Friday. Or maybe it was the 13th. I think it was the 12th. We were on vacation and, had gotten to our location to where we were going. And I look over at my wife and say, can I go out geocaching? She goes, yes, I'll go with you. Okay. Well, we just happened to be at the end of a power trail of 133 caches that had my initials in the series, which is just calling to me. And, so I had to drive a couple of miles to get the detective clue. And then on the way back, I got all the others, as you searched again once you got the detective clue, then you can find the footprints, the shadow, and the fingerprints. Once you have all 3 of those, then you can find the gems. So, in order to keep my wife happy, I didn't finish it all that night. And, we went out to dinner. So I'm still married,
the most important part of it.
Sleeping in my own bed. So I did something right.
Excellent. How about you, Rock Chalk? You want to divulge your skill level?
I got way too excited about it last weekend and I plowed through it last weekend. I didn't intend to. Usually with these promotions, I don't pay much attention and just, it's usually about total fines or whatever. And over the course of a month, I'll usually find what needs to be found without paying much attention to it. But with this one, I guess it started I think it was last Thursday.
Last Thursday, yeah, just before our show.
Right. And I thought, well, I ought to go out and at least find a detective and at least see how it works. And so I went out and did that. And it was on my bike ride home from work. And then I kind of searched and saw, okay, well, there's a fingerprint over here and there's a shadow over here. And I could get a couple of these without going too far off my route. And before I knew it, I'd gone too far off my route trying to chase these things down, and found a few that night. And then the next morning on the way back into work, I ended up finding more and ended up completing the clues. And then Saturday, I went on a couple big hikes, and it was kind of funny because I was going after a couple of older caches, and one of them was a 9-mile round trip for just one cache, and it didn't have a clue in it. And I was a little bit annoyed at that. And I just thought that was kind of funny that I'm getting annoyed that there wasn't a clue in this old cache. And then I did a second hike that was also somewhat long that had 3 caches, but only one of them had a jewel. So I only had 2 jewels, but then on the way back home, I had about hour and a half drive back home. And I just, searched, and I was trying to pick up some jewels here and there, which ended up doing. And then on Sunday, my wife and I spent the whole day it was funny because somehow, even though I work at HQ, you would think I would have known this. It had totally gotten past me that there was something more to do after you got the jewels.
Nice. Before we get to that, though,
in mine, I was like, finish the thing.
Oh, sorry. Before we get into the other stuff, GSM times 2 wants to know if you got all of those caches hiking and biking.
I only got the detective and the first set of clues, the fingerprint, the shadow, and what was the other one again? The
footprint.
Yes, I got all of those hiking and biking, and then I got the jewels. I only got a few of those from hiking. The rest of them I had to get on my drive back home, and then which I if I would have planned it out, maybe I could have gotten it hiking. But yeah, they weren't. These hikes that I were doing were, like I said, were 9 to 10 miles each, and one of them only had 1 cache, the other one only had 3. And I think of the 4 total caches on those 2 hikes, only one of them had a jewel. So kind of annoying, like I said, but I ended up getting them as I was coming back home. So it definitely, directed my caching in a different way than it usually does with these promos. Usually I just don't care all that much, and I was having fun with it, and more fun than I thought I would. So I was pleasantly surprised by how much fun it was for me, and I'm kind of a little bit bummed that I've found everything now.
Now that you finished it, you're remorseful of it, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a little bit. I'm excited to see if there's more that can be done with this sort of stuff. If this is kind of the first foray into this kind of gameplay for us, and I'm excited to see if hopefully the feedback will be good, and the next time there's a chance to do something like this, hopefully they can come up with something else that makes me want to do it like this one did.
Well, that's a great lead into our next question of how much development behind the scenes was needed to pull off this promotion challenge event.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mystery at the Museum involved new technology for us, being the digital clues. And since it was on geocaching.com and on the geocaching apps, it did involve quite a bit of work. Nearly every team at HQ played some sort of role in bringing the Mystery at the Museum to life. There was a lot of involvement from the web and mobile product development teams, from the marketing team, from the design teams, and from the community teams. So it was kind of an all hands on deck kind of a deal. That's not to say people dropped everything else that they were working on. That's not how it works with these promos. But it was definitely something where a lot of different talents were brought together, and like I said, hopefully now this sort of technology can be leveraged in other ways so that it has a longer shelf life over time.
So the plan is that this investment is going to pay out over time, not just for this one event, and we might see other similar promos in the future, I assume, with different themes and gameplay.
Right. I mean, each time we add something new or make an update or what have you to the website or to the apps, there is a lot that is learned. And for digital clues, it's not just about how the players interact with them, but also how they affect the cache owners and what cache owners think about having gameplay like this. So we hope to expand on digital gameplay, but Mystery at the Museum is kind of a first step, and a lot of learning to be done, a lot of, the whole feedback process, both during and after this promotion is going to be really important in directing what kinds of things might be done in the future.
Well, and one of the issues that a lot of people have had, including myself, I don't generally use the geocaching app. I prefer, third-party API partner. So is there plans to maybe take some of this gameplay to the API partners, or is it something that's a little too difficult for that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we would have loved to have been able to offer Mystery at the Museum to API partners, but it was really just a time and technical restraint thing that we weren't able to do it for this particular promotion. But definitely in the future, we would love to find ways to allow partners to be able to support souvenir challenges like this one.
Excellent. That's going to make a lot of people really, really happy. And GSM times 2 and Limax in the chat are saying that they really like this promo. But Caching Dead of New York says he's having a hard time with it because he doesn't have any caches in his area that are available to him. They're either his or in the woods that are full of ticks. So I could kind of echo that because I've been having a really rough time, and the wife is having an even tougher time because she sees all those caches on the map and goes, why can't we hit this one? Well, because I've already found that one, and it doesn't count if I try to find it again.
Right. That's certainly a kind of a known issue, and I don't know what the solution is to that. It's but it's something that we're mindful of, and one of the reasons we tried to do the clues the way that they were done, and the number of fines required, tried to be mindful of those issues as those kinds of decisions were being made as best we could. But even so, it still isn't going to be perfect especially for folks who have cleaned out a certain area and don't have as many available caches very near their home.
Right, and you could easily go to another location that has a bunch of caches if you've got one available and do this in a day. I've heard several people do a day trip and clean out the whole set and had a great time doing it. Mm-hmm. And then there's others who feel like it's actually work because they had to go and spend a full day to do it or do a couple days. But yeah, it's striking those balances is very tough for sure.
Definitely. Right, well, right. I got where I was in under 2 hours. So, I mean, it's not impossible, but yes, you may have to drive to another city, another town, find a local power trail that you haven't hit and just go at it. It won't take you very long. We're talking 35 caches total by the time we're done, I believe.
But what if you're on an island? Actually, I think it's only 21, isn't it?
And it's something we'll talk about in a minute. Secret.
Ooh.
Now, Rock Chalk, we're hearing in the chat that people are absolutely loving this. What was the inspiration? What brought on this idea of mystery at the museum?
It's funny. The kind of the marketing team gets together with the design teams and with the people that are going to be putting the technical side of it together too, and they all get in a room and have a brainstorm. And the inspiration just kind of came from geocaching. Actually, it was trying to think through, what do you feel like when you're out geocaching, and this notion that have you ever felt like a detective when you're out looking for a cache, or if you're trying to solve a mystery cache, or if you find this treasure that nobody else knows about, and it was just kind of this idea of wanting to bring those feelings that you have as a cacher, bring them, into this digital gameplay, and having geocachers really be like detectives as they're trying to solve this Teague Ulmer museum jewel heist. So yeah, that's kind of where the inspiration came from. It just kind of came from the idea of geocaching in general.
Now, some of the new geocachers may not catch on to what the Teague Ulmer Museum is all about. Where did you come up with that name?
Well, yeah. So those are important names from the origins of geocaching, from Dave Ulmer and from Mike Teague, who were two of the very important names in the history of the game. So we tried to throw in a couple little things there that would be meaningful to longtime players, and then hopefully, maybe if somebody doesn't know what they mean, they'll do a Google search and read some more about those guys, because they were certainly very, very important to this game starting and ultimately ending up where it is now.
Are you going to open a branch of the Teague Ulmer Museum in HQ? Maybe right off the Welcome Center there?
I think if that were to happen, I would have to be right nearby with my microphone and my suit and interviewing everybody that came in, I suppose. I'm not sure if I want that or not.
Fair enough.
It's kind of curious though that the Teague Ulmer Museum was founded essentially this year versus on to the 2020. So I did find that a little bit amusing.
Oh yeah,
I figure they just have to be getting ready for the 2020.
Yeah, I just report on what I'm told, Daryl. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, I can try to track somebody down, and ask that question.
I think this is a secret story. Is there's going to be something with the Teague Ulmer Museum next year, and using all the gems that we have to collect to, bring it to Seattle.
It is funny. It just kind of makes me think of how geocachers are so great, the way that they tried deciphering the reporting that we did, and the mentions of little things. We got an email or not an email, I think it was a comment on one of our Facebook posts, somebody saying, does anybody know what Chris Ronan is a reference to? Everybody was trying to read into everything, and it was, and then ironically, that during the reporting, I mentioned that the thieves were in the museum for 81 minutes, which I would have assumed was a reference to the Fizzy Grid, and there being 81 squares in the Fizzy Grid, and as it turns out, that was not part of the thinking when when the team wrote up the story. So, but it's always fun to watch as the community. It's just so many smart people, and they have fun trying to figure out if there's a little Easter egg in there or what have you. And then, yeah, is the Teague Ulmer Museum a real thing, or is it really going to be a real thing? And no, there are no plans to open the Teague Ulmer Museum, at least not that I'm aware of.
See, that's the thing. They don't let the reporters know because they don't want it to leak out yet.
No, that's true. I've always said that I'm positive that they don't tell me everything, because they know that if I come on here, I'm probably going to want to tell you guys about it. So, yeah, I've got too big of a mouth. So
They'll tell you about the time they're ready to announce it, which is, a week beforehand.
right. They'll hand me a microphone and say, okay, here's what you can tell people.
Yeah. Get your suit. Here's what you get to tell people.
Here's your suit. Yeah, that's right.
Do you have any idea how the clues are assigned, or is that still a challenge?
Well, so the clues were done via an algorithm, and the idea was to try to evenly distribute them throughout the world. We tested distribution both in cache dense locations as well as more remote locations. We truly didn't want the challenge to lie in having to drive long distances so that you could get every single clue. So that's what the hope was with the algorithm that was put together. But again, it's another part of this being a new thing, and I'm sure there will be some learnings there that as we see how this thing played out, that might impact how it's built if we're to do something like this in the future.
So the clues can never change. What is assigned to it is what that cache is always going to be for everyone.
Right. The clues will not change from those caches during the promotion. That's correct.
And if I understood the fact, or that came out before we actually started, any of the new caches are always getting just the detective clues.
That is also correct. Yes.
So you can't have someone hide new caches in hopes that you're going to find new gems or whatever.
Right.
It's just going to be the detective clue no matter what for the remainder of the promotion.
Correct. Yes.
And then were favorite points or the age of the cache a factor at all?
So cache activity and health and favorite points all played a factor, but all caches have clues in them. So we distributed more jewel clues than detectives, because you only need to find one with a detective, whereas you have to find 3 of each type of the jewels and that sort of thing. But yeah, there was the favorite points, health, cache activity, those all played some sort of a factor.
So do you know if the better caches are saved toward the end, or was it weighted toward the front, or somewhere in the middle? Or you weren't able to get that out of anyone?
Well, I know that just that the goal was to create distribution that would be equitable for different skill levels and abilities. So the clues were segmented by country and then by state where those were available, and then other factors included wheelchair accessibility, DT rating, cache type, stuff like that. So hoping to again create a distribution that would enable people of all abilities to be able to get the clues, as opposed to if there would have been a decision to say, let's make the upper levels be in the most difficult caches, whether it be difficulty or terrain, that sort of thing. The idea was to try to spread them around so that people of again all different abilities and ages and all that stuff would be able to get all of them, hopefully, if they decided to try to do that.
So you didn't just put detective clues in those that require a 9-mile hike uphill.
How horrible would that have been? Oh my gosh. Even I would have been mad about that.
Now, we're a week into this promo. We've got about 3 weeks left. Are there any numbers that you can share with us? How many people finished each stage here in the first week?
Yeah, so as of today, I did check in on that. So just over 76,000 people have been briefed on the case, meaning they have gotten the detective clue. A little over 24,000 have collected the evidence, so having found the fingerprints, the footprints, and the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And then around 9,000 have collected all the gems, and about 2,000 worldwide have close the case and open the vault.
Good. So those are the 4 souvenirs that you earn as you go through this and, collect your so many geocaches. Okay.
Right.
That's a little bit better than I probably expected from a promotion in the first week.
Mm-hmm.
First, it's really just one weekend, but I really got the impression people were going out more this time during the week and trying to find, that 1 or 2 after work. So I think it probably is a good reflection of what I'm hearing as far as the, people are kind of trying to do what they can as they have the time, since they don't necessarily have the time or, in many cases, the weather to allow them to go out and do it in a day.
Right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as the team does their feedback collection, as they always do during and after a promotion like this. I just think it'll be interesting to see if they're able to get an idea for how this promotion has differed or is the same as others in terms of how it has affected our behavior as cachers, and because again, just speaking for myself and from what I've seen in various online groups, people talking about this promotion, it does seem to be having a different kind of an impact and motivating people in a slightly different way than other promotions have. But that's just anecdotal. I'll be interested to see once the official feedback loop is done.
It's still too early to really tell.
Right, exactly. Right. It's just purely anecdotal at this point, but it's generally been fun to see the reaction people have been having. There have been some bugs that folks that our tech side has had to try to work out, and that's to be expected with a new thing like this. But for the most part, the people are having a good time with it.
Yeah, and with like the hidden creatures last time, I heard a lot of people who were, just trying to find as many caches as they could, trying to get it done under the wire. But people really liked those, and some people were really going and hitting them. Other people were just like, well, this is something I really want to try. You know what I mean? It's different levels even with that. But this one, we get a few people who have been complaining, especially the people who want to use the GPS, but the smartphone users mostly complaining they can't use their favorite app, but tend to like it because it's so different.
Right.
This is something new to geocaching with these virtual clues, and it's taking people a little bit to wrap their head around it. But overall, the impression has been favorable.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, speaking for myself, and I think some other people have had the same experience, that I'm used to just these promotions come and I just don't pay much attention. I know I go caching a lot, and over the course of a month, I'm going to get enough caches to meet hidden creatures or Mary Hyde or whatever it is. But with this one, I had to think about it a lot harder. And I even thought that might frustrate me a little bit before this started. But during the course of it, for me, it was easy enough. I was using the app, I was using the website, and it was kind of fun to watch my progress on the app. I remember last Sunday when my wife and I were out caching, and we needed to get the caches to get access to the vault. And throughout the day, we just kept looking every so often to see, okay, because it would show you had this many out of this many that you needed, and it would just keep track for you the whole time. And it was just kind of fun, to be watching that throughout the day. And if I was more sane, I would have, spaced this out a little bit, and I could keep doing this for a week or two and keep watching it over the course of a week or two. But I'll just have to be satisfied that I watched it for a day, and it was fun.
Wouldn't that be a great mechanic for a geo tour? as you go through, it's counting, you've got, one of 16 or one of 24 or whatever.
Right. And you think about
Will
some of those
unlock
geo
some
tours
of the, better caches maybe as you go, kind of like the labs have been doing, the adventure labs.
Right. And it was, Chris mentioned geo tours. I'm thinking in my mind about those passports where sometimes you have to find, so many of this type of cache or this other type. It would be pretty cool to be able to track that as you were going along.
Yeah.
Yeah. In an app rather than on a piece of paper.
And on the website. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I might steal that idea and not give you credit. So
go ahead.
To add to the GeoTour webpage, right?
Right.
I'll always know, though.
We're happy. I mow your lawn.
Okay. There you go.
But yeah, it would be happy to see that stolen with or without credit, because that would be an awesome addition.
Yeah.
But back to the mystery at the museum, there's actually like the 4 stages. So we've talked about the 1, 2, 3, and Chris and I are on stage 3. But as I understand, when you get to stage 4, you still have work to do, and I think that's where you are. Am I correct?
He's already done it.
That's what I've finished that stage as well.
You finished stage. Oh wow. Okay.
I have. Yes. Yeah,
so
and
another 35 is what I've kind of heard in the chat room, mostly in that final stage.
Yeah, 30. What I've heard is 35 additional to the 22 to get there.
Right. So you're looking at 57, if I'm doing the math correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of cash.
Maybe. Oh, you're not going to comment. Okay.
Well, I don't want to spoil it, but it sounds like it's been spoiled within the chat room. So I think we're all friends here. We'll just assume that we're not spoiling anything. I just don't want to.
Nobody else is really listening.
I would not deny what's been said in the chat room. Let's put it that way.
But you will not confirm it either.
Yeah, it's like I will not confirm it.
The caching
wink.
We are correct, and it's out there. We are spoiled as Limax.
Yeah. And,
okay.
Here and here's again. What's funny is that I had no idea. I'm sure I was told that at some point internally, and I did the jewels, and then I was like, wait a second, this isn't over. I gotta keep going, and there was just this moment of a little bit of, well, gosh, I thought I was going to be all finished, but I was kind of excited that it wasn't quite over and I still had more to do. So it was a pleasant surprise, but yeah, I didn't know that was coming either. So there you go.
I think GSM ×2 has an excellent point though, is don't wait until the last day to get your last jewel. If you think you're going to complete it on that final day, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
That is good advice. Yes.
Okay, Rock Chalk, I have to ask one more question. Just because I know that that HQ, the employees there are just slightly competitive, not as competitive as you are, but the others are, have a lower level of competition. Has there been a challenge to see who can complete this the quickest?
No, not to see who can complete it the quickest, but we do, I think, almost always have some sort of an internal lackey competition or something that goes on in conjunction with the summer challenge or promo, whatever we're calling it. And there is something like that this year. It was not to finish it the fastest, but there are a couple of categories, and I have actually just sort of not even paid attention to it. Because I do get too competitive, and I decided this year if I can't officially opt out, I'm going to kind of unofficially just not pay much attention to what's going on. So I know there's an internal document somewhere that you can look and see where you stack up with everybody else. But it's partly to encourage us to, I think you get points for going out with people from other teams and going caching with people from other teams. And there are points for completing the mystery, but not by speed or anything like that. So So it's been kind of fun. There is a lot of people scheduling outings over lunchtime and on the weekends with a particular goal of finding someone who's not on your team, because you get some points apparently for that. So that's what's happening.
Well, I'm available if somebody needs someone who's not in the office all the time. We'll go out and.
There should be a category for like cashing with podcasters.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not quite a muggle, but it's kind of like an HQ muggle. a non HQ or non lackey.
Maybe I'll suggest that for next year. That's and then I could not tell anybody about it, and then I get all the points.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. With that, we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Actually, sorry.
We're gonna have to wrap this up because we are going long. We did have an email from Limax that we're gonna have to skip though. And thank you once again for joining us. Always a pleasure. And we've got a prize for anyone who's listening to the show that wants to try for it. We got one of the Night at the Museum mystery coins
Mystery at the Museum.
Mystery at the Museum.
I'll correct you.
Coins and tag sets that we're going to give out to someone that emails us their feedback on the Mystery at the Museum. I almost said it again. Mystery at the Museum promotion once they're done with it or after they've given up on it. So don't do it now and go, oh, I hated this promo because it doesn't work with my GPS, or, I love this promo because none of my friends can do it. Whatever it might be, wait until you're done and then send us a feedback, because we really want to know what it's like doing the promo this time, since it is so different. So email that to us at geogearheads@cachamaniacs.com by August 11th. We'll talk about it on that following show, but it's geogearheads@cachamaniacs.com, and it has to be to us by August 11th, which is the end of this promotion as well.
And that's a really cool coin too. I don't buy a lot of coins, but I bought that one because I thought that was a really neat one. So
it is. I really like this one, but I like the gems more.
The gems are cool. They're actually glass, not plastic.
Right.
With a tracking number engraved into them.
I was going to say etched, but you might be right that they're engraved.
Engaged.
They might be engaged too. I don't know.
You could use the big diamond on a ring to do a geo engagement.
Ooh, wow.
I like it. Talk about a big stone though.
Yeah, well, you got to get a big ring. So, Rock Jock, thank you so much for taking time to join us this evening. We really do appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys and the folks in the chat.
And let everybody at HQ know that we appreciate them and all that they're doing.
I will tell them that you appreciate me most of all, and you tolerate the rest of them.
Wow, I think we're having problems with our connection here. I don't think that's what I said, but that's fine. They'll understand. If it went through your filter, they'll know what I meant.
Sure they will.
Now, next week, we are talking with a developer of GeoGo, which used to be GeoLive. Now it's GeoGo. We get to find out what is going on with GeoGo.
Check the Cachamaniacs website at cachamaniacs.com for more on the Geo Gearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cachamaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachamaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachamaniacs shows. Geo Gearheads is produced by Chris Huffenauer and Darryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2019 by Darryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with the Cachamaniacs.